Hello, I am back with my mini boba mic. In the last spilling of the boba, we talked about decolonizing messaging, what that even means, how that might look. And today, we're going to talk about the 3 common messaging traps that are rooted in methods of harm. If you're new around here, I'm Justine, messaging strategist and copywriter for equity-driven and social impact-driven women of color entrepreneurs and our equity allies, here to bring our brands alive with strategic messaging and storytelling that sells, and that's rooted in truth-telling. So, what are these 3 traps? Let's dive in. I'm sure you're very familiar with them. The first one is scarcity and urgency. This sounds like 2 spots left. Buy now, don't miss out. It's a marketing tactic that puts pressure on people to make decisions, like creating FOMO. But when we pressure people to act fast, we bypass their consent. Say what, Justine? Yes, we are bypassing consent because pressuring people to act fast pushes them to make decisions that aren't well informed. We don't want that. We want our audience and our clients to feel empowered and excited and ready to make a decision, right? Now, let's be very clear about something. I am not saying, do not say only 2 spots left. And I'm not saying don't put a limit or a deadline on something. What I am saying though is make sure when you do set those limits, be honest about why you have those limits. If you've got limited space, say it's because you're testing out something, or you want to make sure in these small groups you're able to give more undivided attention. And I know, realistically, most of you here, you aren't just randomly popping up and saying, I've got 2 spots in my new program, buy now. Most likely, you've taken the time to nurture and educate your audience. But we just want to remember not to lean into urgency and scarcity, but instead lead from care and transparency, truth-telling. Because what we don't want is when people are pressured to act fast, they don't have enough space to reflect, right? We want to create a sense of anxiety or false choice and false decision making or internal dissonance even. You know, that feeling of like, oh, I don't know if I should buy, but I feel like I have to. All those ideas, like, I don't know if you could tell, but like I actually feel tense just thinking about it. Like my stomach is in knots just feeling that sort of sense of pressure and urgency. We want to step out of that colonial mindset and invite people into our offer instead of using pressure tactics, instead of coming into someone else's space, pushing them to try out your way. Trap number 2, authority as control. This can sound like, this is what you need to do, or it can feel like, I know better than you. And we do not like that, do we? It gives us an icky feeling. No, it gives me an icky feeling. This is what we call expert posturing. And expert posturing silences nuances, it silences lived experiences and collaboration. The image that comes to mind for me is in the olden days when most people couldn't read, right? You basically had church clergy leading people, telling them what's in the Bible, and therefore leaving a lot of room for dictating, for manipulation, for asserting power over the people. So instead of telling them what's in the Bible, let's teach them how to read. Instead of telling them what to believe, let's teach them how to think. And that's how I like to approach relationships. Personally, I like to come from a place of guidance, walking alongside my clients and sharing knowledge instead of walking above them or even ahead of them. I want to walk alongside them and share knowledge, because when we share knowledge instead of dictating knowledge, we leave room for growth and learning on both sides. And when the relationship feels mutually beneficial, mutually positive, that allows for joyful collaboration And it makes the work feel easeful because your clients feel like they're in partnership with you. Trap number 3, you probably hear this one a lot, pain point marketing. This sounds a lot like you're stuck, you're overwhelmed, you're stressed, you're spread thin, all of which may be true, and that's great. But we want to be careful with pain point marketing because when we lean into or lead with pain points, we can fall into the slippery trap of overwhelming our audience with the stress they're already feeling. Funny enough, a year ago, I was on a panel with other BIPOC entrepreneurs, and the host and moderator at one point said, F pain point marketing, I'm done with that. And I thought, yes, but it is still really important to understand your audience's pain points. However, we don't want to use the pain points as a method of manipulation. It's important to understand their pain points in order to be able to relate to them, to connect with them genuinely, and to truly make them feel seen and heard. It's one thing to know, okay, this person is overwhelmed, overworked, stretched too thin. She does not have time to do her own marketing or do it well. She barely has time to run her own business. Instead of making her feel broken, we want to make sure we connect with her through care and compassion. So instead of calling all of those things out and say you're failing, we want to say, hey, you're caring a lot and your messaging deserves support instead of stress. That's the difference between triggering shame and building connection. So you see, these traps are also common because they are taught as best practices, but that doesn't mean they're aligned with your values. And in the next Spilling the Boba, we are going to dive deep into reclaiming our voices. This is especially for those of you who have been stuck sounding more corporate, more formal, feeling like you have to sound a certain way to be taken seriously. This is also for you, though, who feel like you've broken free from all that and are sounding yourself, but maybe are starting to blend in with everyone as well. Yes, your message is high energy, it's empowered, it's inspiring, but is it specific enough? Is it real enough to your truth? That's what we're going to talk about in the next boba. So until then, have a bobalicious day. And if you are ready to decolonize your messaging, DM me, book a virtual tea. Let's talk about how we break your messaging free from colonized constructs to stand out in a crowded market in your true authenticity, in your true voice, and take your impact beyond sales and into creating, influencing, and impacting culture.